Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Africa here on Housing TV Africa. It's always a pleasure to break the day with you here on the station. My name is Dorcas Chia and I am not just here alone. I am in the studio on this program with my colleague.
Good morning, Dorcas. Good morning. I am Mimi Tondo, and together with Dorcas, we will be bringing to you issues that bothers the world.
Yes.
How are you doing, Dorcas?
I'm fine. How was the weekend?
It was great, and we thank God you're here again doing what we love doing.
That's it. Talking about doing what we love doing, you seem a bit very, let me say, motivated. Not even motivated. That's not the word. Determined this morning, as in, I don't know, but what are your plans for this week and everything?
My number one plan for this week is to achieve my goal. Like, make sure that I
meet your target.
I meet my target and ensure everything is put in place. And of course, rest for the weekend. Just cool off my head.
That's good.
So what are your plans, Dorcas?
Well, my plans were just like you to meet targets. There are things that have been set in place and I hope to achieve. I'm just hoping that the week is going to be a very good one, and I'm looking forward to a very fulfilled week. A week that is filled with achieving all our goals, meeting our targets, and all that. Then right now, I just want us to look at something that is actually happening in the society at the moment. We've seen warnings from NIMET and even other organizations about people, states should, a few states that are to look out for and to watch out for floods and all this. And I don't know what you have to say about it, but for me, I have to commend them for always bringing out the information this particular time. But for me as a person, it was coming quite shocking because I don't know, maybe it's because we are here in Abuja and the rain has not been so much like that. That's why I felt like okay, the rains are not so much, so why is there flood?
And like, you know, we all have various, though we are in the same weather, but we have various downpour when it comes to locations and geopolitical areas. And climate change has really affected the weather these days, that even in September we're expecting flood. And another thing is, just like you said, you appreciate NIMET for bringing the information. It's not just passing the information. The people who are getting the information, how prepared are they?
Yes.
Because each year, each time, each month, NIMET keep bringing this information to these people, and we keep having IDP camps full of those who are displaced because of flooding.
Yes, so talking about preparedness, I'm very glad that today's topic, it has to do with something like that. We're going to be looking at climate change and resilience, and I hope we'll be able to talk about that and see how people can prepare ahead, most especially those states can prepare ahead of the flood. But for now, let's just go straight to take the charge for the day, and when we return, we'll delve into the program and the discussion will kickstart. Stay tuned. This is still Good Morning Africa here on Housing TV Africa.
Hello viewers, welcome to today's edition of I Can Make It. And yes, you will surely make it, because that statement is the champion inside of you that is speaking, irrespective of the oppositions, the limitations, or probably the kind of challenges that you are going through. So keep telling yourself, I can make it, and you will surely be able to make it. Today, we want to look at courage in the midst of fear. Courage in the midst of fear. My brother, my sister, anywhere you are viewing from, viewers, there will always be a time that what is bigger than you will confront you. And any time you see what is bigger than you confronting you, there is this tendency that you will be afraid. It's normal. It's normal that a man, when you see something bigger than you, something you cannot handle, you will definitely be afraid. But at that point in time, what you need is really to have courage in the midst of fear. Because the courage in the midst of fear is the anchor that will keep you alive. Fear is false evidences appearing real. That means when you have courage, you'll be able, those evidences, you'll be able to put it to them. You are false evidences. You may be appearing real right now in my life or in my business, in my family, in my situation. But I tell you, I have a courage that will cancel these evil evidences or negative evidences that are around me. Courage will be able to help you confront your fear. That is one thing that fear doesn't like. When fear grips a man, what fear wants to do is that the fear wants to kill you. The fear wants to take away from you. The fear wants to destroy you. So when you rise up, you have this courage inside of you that against all odds, I have this courage that in the midst of this fear, I will be able to succeed. I will be able to go over. I can assure you, will surely go over. In fact, let me give you one testimony. I entered an elevator in one office sometimes ago, and from the ground floor I was going to like the 16th or the 17th floor, and in the middle of the way, probably around the 7th to the 8th floor, they took the light and the elevator stopped. My God, the elevator stopped. You can imagine, my heart started beating. Baba, baba. I looked at the people around me, about 3 people. They were speechless. They fear. This is the middle of fear. This organization, are they having the generator that can power this elevator and will be able to move out of here? We were there. The first minute, no rescue. The second minute, no rescue. The third minute, no rescue. And you can imagine, as it was getting to the 4th, the 5th minute, it started generating. We started sweating. Oh God, that was a mist of fear. But I have this courage inside of me that in this particular problem, solution has been before problem. I don't know how this solution will come, but I have this courage in the midst of this fear that there will be a way out. Every question in life have an answer. So this particular one, I am in need. God, make a way for me. This is the time that your faith should come alive. This is the time that you must be able to, display that which is inside of you. And the people around me, they were still speechless. After 5 minutes, one of the women there started crying. Oh my God, this is a mistake. I will have climbed the staircase and see me now inside this place. I tell you, at the end of the day, while all the panicking here and there were going on, I just had peace. I believe that this thing will happen. Though I'm sweating, no air to breathe in very well, you can imagine it's a compacted place. I just believe that I will not die here. I didn't come to this office to come and die. So this particular one is either they bring the lights or someone will come in and the person will be able to open the lift and will come out. I had that peace, and that is very, very important in life. See, in the midst of fear, you need courage. It will help you to be able to coordinate yourself so that you will know the right step to take, you will know the right words to speak, you will know the right person to meet. At the end of the day, we just saw the elevator, there was lights, and everyone inside the elevator, that were crying before, you will see smiles on their faces. All of a sudden, everything changed, and the elevator started moving up again. And lo and behold, everybody dropped at their desired floor alive and well. So fear will always come to you when you are faced with situations that are bigger than you. That is not the time you should now begin to fret and begin to be afraid. When you are afraid and you cannot confront your fear, whatever you fear will definitely come upon you. That is a principle in life that is very, very, that is it. You can't change it. Whatever any man fears fear in life, that thing will always come upon that person. So when you are in the midst of fear, I want you to develop courage. I want you to tell yourself, I can make it. I will make it. Fear is false evidences appearing real. Whatever evidences fear is, showcasing in my life or in my situation or in my family or in my career or in my business right now, these evidences are not real. You need to tell yourself the truth, because that is the truth. Fear is false evidences appearing real. By the time you tell fear that these evidences, I have better evidences I can show you, these ones are better than what you are presenting to me, that is when you are confronting your fears. And any man that confronts fears in life, I tell you, that man will surely overcome that thing that fear wants to do in your life. So from now, I want you to please brace up. Have that courage in the midst of fear. You may be passing through troubles, you may be passing through challenges, but I can assure you, once you have courage in the midst of fear, you begin to receive from God the right information, the right step to take, and at the end of the day, you are the one that will testify. At the end of the day, you will see the end of your trouble. Your trouble will not see your end. So as we progress in life, are you living in fear? Please cast away fear. Fear has never been in the package that God gives to his children. So when you see fear coming in, fear is a torment. Fear is from the devil. Fear is designed, to degenerate your status in life. So you are the one that will tell yourself, I have this courage in the midst of this fear. I am not going to give in. I will make it. I will present better evidences that will put fear to shame. And by the mercies and grace of God, I see God doing that for you by his grace. So as we progress in life, develop courage in the midst of your fear, and I can assure you, you will surely make it. Thank you for watching this particular episode of I Can Make It, and I know great testimonies will begin to emerge for you. See you in the next episode. Thank you.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Africa, and today we'll be looking at climate change and resilient housing. And before we get into the topic fully, we will give you a background of what climate change and resilient housing is. Around the world, climate change is reshaping the way people live, from rising sea levels and floods to intense heat waves and stronger storms. These changes don't just affect the environment, they also strike at the very heart of our daily lives, our homes and communities. In cities like Lagos, the challenges are particularly visible. Flooded streets, damaged houses, and displaced families remind us that safe housing is more than just a roof over our heads. It is our first line of defense against climate risk. Unfortunately, many of our existing housing structures are not built to withstand these challenges, leaving millions vulnerable when disasters strike. This brings us to the growing importance of resilient housing. Today, we want to explore this important conversation: how climate change is affecting housing, what resilience really means in this context, and what solutions are possible for communities like ours. To help us unpack those issues, we have with us Mr. Obima Oche, an environmentalist expert who will guide us through the realities, challenges, and opportunities of building climate resilient housing. Glad to have you join us, Mr. Obima Oche.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here.
You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, how has the weather been?
It's okay. It's raining season, but it has been, the rain levels have actually been dropping as of late. I don't know if anybody noticed.
Yeah, we said that earlier.
Which is kind of weird, but that's exactly why we're here to talk about it. Exactly.
Oh, okay. So let's begin. How does climate change directly and indirectly affect housing and human settlements, and what does resilient housing mean? And you go ahead to tell us the meaning of resilient housing and how to get the structures.
Okay, so basically, climate change affects housing structures through adverse weather conditions, and those adverse weather conditions degrade built settlements. Uh, the direct effects of climate change include flooding, rising sea level, drought. I guess we always see every rainy season, like you said, in Lagos, whereby we see people knee deep or neck deep in waters. That's a result of rising sea levels, and it has also been predicted that in the year 2050, rising sea levels in Lagos will reach up to 3 meters.
Wow.
That's all like 10 feet. So if we're seeing people right now at knee deep or neck deep in this year, can you imagine what it will be in 2050? So that's a serious direct effect of climate change we need to actually look on. And of course, the indirect effect includes financial strain because of there's flood-prone areas. People that are staying there will now move to higher grounds, thereby placing more strain on available housing structures, and this increases the value of housing. It also increases insurance premium. Also, indirect effects include housing policies. Housing policies need to get stronger. There will now be housing policies that will be developed towards the development of resilient housing. But one of the most profound indirect effects has to be climate migration and displacement, because of let's say like areas really affected by climate change effects. People will move more to places that are they feel safer. So those are the indirect effects. Considering resilient housing, resilient housing generally refers to homes and settlements being built to overcome the challenges of both indirect and direct effects of climate change, also ensuring safety, reliability, affordability, and accessibility to those who are in it. Resilient homes or settlements make use of structures like elevated structures in flood-prone areas, use of flood-resistant floors, use of wind-resistant roofing, and some other smaller adaptation techniques. And but generally as a whole, resilient housing not only does it mitigate against the effects of climate change, but it provides an environment whereby communities can thrive in despite the incessant changes of climate change.
Okay, all right. I want to take you back a little while asking some questions. We just want to know what exactly may cause climate change, because every year we feel like there's a change in the climate and everything. Like earlier this year, back at we could see that the winds came a bit earlier than usual. And one will ask exactly why. And now you've also told us what resilient housing is all about. Building structures to be able to resist and all the climate effects, the changes that come with climate and everything that way. So would that also apply to those that are living in flood prone areas? Is there a way they can be able to build even if they are in flood prone areas like that? Because we've tried to say, oh, don't build in flood prone areas, but we still see people going there to go and build. So since they are there, are there ways they can build in order to make it resilient for them when the rains come and it begins to cost a lot?
Yes. Although not advisable, but definitely there are some people that, especially along the coastal line, that is their home, that's their traditional home. So telling them to move might not be that ideally manageable for them. So, let me take for instance the flood-prone areas around the coastal communities. Making use of elevated structures, making use of bamboo helps. Also making use of
really very efficient bamboo.
Yeah, actually bamboo is actually flood resistant, especially if it is fortified with, maybe you use cement and laterite and any other stronger absorbent structures. Yes, it is actually very good. and it's cost effective. It provides a temporary relief. It's not permanent, but it provides a temporary relief whereby, you know, they can withstand, and maybe within time they can look into other things. Another thing people in the flood prone areas can do is make use of solar systems. You know, if they have solar off-grid installed solar systems around there, they can use that solar system to pump water or direct the flow of water to other places. Another technology they can also use is, you know, installing systems that capture rainfall, so that the water doesn't really build up too much, doesn't really cause flooding and surface runoff. They can capture this rainfall water, and maybe with time they can now redirect it to
Are those
different.
not very cost effective? What about a method of improvisation for those that may not have the funds to be able to, because these things you're saying, I'm sure there are things that they are high tech machines like this. For those that won't be able to afford those machines, is there a way they can improvise those kind of things?
Unfortunately, yes, they can improvise, but long term they will have to couple modern technology, and modern technology is kind of costly, but in the long run it's better. But temporarily relief using elevated structures, like I said, the bamboo, and there's some flood resistant floors they can use, make use of. There's some wood in around their community that are flood resistant, that doesn't absorb water that much, takes time before it absorbs. They can make use of that, but that's only temporary relief. Within time, either they have to leave those flood prone areas, because climate change is not stopping today.
No,
it's not stopping anytime soon. So they just have to be proactive. They have to be aware that, listen, this thing, since we're in a flood prone area, we have to just embrace modern technologies, or we move from here.
Now, what do you think will make these people leave these areas? Because year in, year out, the NIMET keep giving warnings that move away from these areas. If you can't afford to build a resilient house, or you are not aware of this structure, why not move away? Do you think is really their fault, or the economic challenge of the country?
Yeah, like you just said, economic challenges. It's not easy moving, first of all, and also this is like their traditional grounds. This is where they were born. This is where their forefathers have been. So you telling them to move from their traditional home to another man's land, it doesn't really sit well with a lot of them. Some of them will be like, I'd rather stay here till, you know, whatever, because this is where my forefathers built. This is where they have lived. So this is our ancestral home. Living here, so it takes a lot of building awareness, letting them know this. Listen, these are the effects, and this is what you need to do. And if we can also provide settlements whereby they can go and still feel at home, because at the end of the day, they will still have to move. That's just
okay.
You know.
All right. Just to chip in from what she has said.
Yes.
She mentioned something about NIMET, and just recently today, NIMET has already released a warning to specific states to, you know, be ready, because they might be flood prone.
Okay.
As the rains come and everything. And for you as a person, let's take for instance, you're in the place of government, or even in the states. What are the things you think that you can do as a person to be able to, you know, be prepared, or you think the government should do to be able to prepare for this flood, apart from the fact that people have to, you know, leave those areas? Let's even leave the fact that they have brought it out right now.
Okay.
Let's say at the beginning of the year, when it's still dry, what ways can we put together in order to make sure that once the rains comes, once it's time for a particular risk and disaster risk or anything, it doesn't cause a lot of havoc to humanity and everything?
Okay, it primarily involves rigid proactiveness. proactiveness across the board. When I mean across the board, I'm talking about government, I'm talking about agencies, NGOs, and even individuals ourselves. Okay, so let's start with government. You have to create subtle awareness. Look at this 2050 fact I told you about Lagos, this rising sea level. How many people on Lagos Islands or mainland are aware that in the next 25 years, the rising sea level is going to be almost 3 meters or 10 feet high? And people are still buying lands, buying houses in Banana Island. Like, do you understand? How many people are aware? So there needs to be proactiveness on everybody's part, not just government. We need to let everybody know, see, this is the impending issue at hand, and we need to find ways. Each and every one of us need to find ways and, come together and checkmate it, because this situation is not going anytime soon. So it's just proactiveness. We need proactiveness. That's just it.
So why is housing such a critical factor in disaster risk reduction and climate adaptation?
Okay, like for example, right, we are in a building. So this building is already providing shelter to us. That is exactly what housing does. It provides the first line of defense against adverse weather conditions, shelters us from whatever is happening outside. So in the context of resilient homes, not only does it provide shelter, but it's also supposed to be designed in a way whereby it's affordable, accessible. It affords safety, it also ensures livability of whoever is there. So in the context of that, actually, this type of things reduces, that's resilient housing, reduces property damage and also improves the livelihood of human beings.
Okay, all right. Right now we have been sitting much or talking much about the flood when it comes to climate and everything, and I want us to still look at how we can build houses that will be able to resist climate change. And we've been looking so much on the flood. I want us to look in other directions, maybe other climate disasters that may occur, and how we can be able, maybe practical ways we can be able to build and able to resist some of these disasters that are not flood. And maybe for areas that are not flood prone, maybe in towns that, areas that, I want to say solid ground.
Yes.
What for you, if you want to build now, we're talking about resilient home. If you want to build at this moment and everything, what are those things you will do when building to make sure that, okay, this house is, I'm doing this to make it resilient. I have to put this particular kind of plan to make it resilient against climate disaster.
So I'll take, for example, we are located in Abuja FCT, right? So the first thing that will come to my mind is that basically we're in the northern part of Nigeria, which is characterized by high heat. And one of the direct effects of climate change is intense heat waves. So we do have heat waves occurring here and there. So the first thing I'm going to consider is installing a solar panel to provide reliable power, whereby I can power my cooling systems, my air conditions, my fans and whatnot. That being said, another thing I would also consider is actually painting my walls or have my roof being painted white in order to reflect the solar radiation. Another thing I could also consider is maybe I could use building materials that are not heat absorbent. Okay, they displace more heat, which laterite is a very good example. Displaces more heat. So those are the few things I could consider when doing my house in the northern region per se. In the southern region, it's more dicey, especially when you're situated in a lowland, which definitely water is going to come. So I think the best thing to do as an individual is to try and create a efficient drainage system around your house or even on your street, because whatever happens up your street or down your street is going to affect you. So if as a community you can all gather together and say, let us build a drainage system that is not just a drainage system but is very efficient, that's within a specific minute an amount of water can get displaced somewhere else. So that is one thing that can really help flood-prone areas, and also the use of elevated structures, flood-resistant roof floors also helps. So those are the few things I can think of.
So for those who cannot afford some of these things you mentioned, like the solar and those who are living in remote areas, how can they be able to cover up this situation?
You know, traditional construction materials include, you can use like mud, you can use like raffia palms on your roof to reflect solar radiation. I did say mud. You can use thatch walls. These are just, you know, minute traditional methods combined with using structures like having a courtyard, a big courtyard, or a high roofing, you know, which reduces the heat in the house. As for the flood-prone areas, it still comes down to using the elevated structures where possible, because no matter what, you're in a low-lying area, and the place per year, per inch, it's increasing. So that's the few things I can think of for people that want to use substandard methods. Should I say substandard or traditional methods? Yeah, just use bamboo sticks for elevation, use your raffia palms to reflect radiation, and, you know, whatnot.
Okay. All right. So at this juncture, we're due for a break, and when we return, then we are going to look at how sustainable materials and renewable energy play a vital role when it comes to resilient homes and also preventing climate disasters. Stay tuned. This is still Good Morning Africa.
Attention, housing and construction brands. Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Housing TV Africa, channel 149 on Star Times, is your ultimate platform to shine. Whether you're a housing developer offering affordable homes, a building materials company, a mortgage bank supporting families, or a furniture, lighting, or interiors brand bringing style into every home, we've got you covered. Our crew comes live to your site, your showroom, or your project location, capturing your products, services, and your story in action. Real coverage, real people, real impact. And now, the exciting part, all of this is available at very affordable advertising rates. Yes, with Housing TV Africa, you can promote your brand without breaking the bank, while reaching millions of home buyers, decision makers, and investors. Don't stay hidden. Be seen, be trusted, be celebrated. Housing TV Africa, your #1 housing and construction network, on channel 149 on Star Times. Call us today on 0916 500 0000 and let's build your business in the spotlight. Housing TV Africa, affordable rates, on-site reports, maximum impact.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Good Morning Africa here on Housing TV Africa, and we have been discussing climate change and resilient housing here in the studios with an environmentalist, Obima Uche, and it has been an interesting and very enlightening one so far, I have to say. So coming back to you and to the discussion, Mr. Uche.
Yes.
I want us now to look at how the role renewable energy and sustainable materials play when it comes to resilient housing.
Okay, our renewable energy plays a very huge role in resilient housing, because if you look at it, renewable energy is the future. Not only does it actually mitigate the effects of climate change, but it also helps climate change. It also helps reduce the emissions of greenhouse gases. So that aside, when we talk about renewable energy, we're talking about, the first thing that comes to our mind is solar energy, right? So solar energy is very natural. It can be harnessed to power a lot of systems, Like I earlier mentioned, we can use it to provide cooling in the house. We can use it also develop off-grid solar installation systems, whereby when our national grid per se goes off, it can all come back on and power reliable electricity, whereby people can use it during maybe during thunderstorms or during flood or during heat or all this. So renewable energy is actually the future. It's actually the way to go, and it also provides energy security. Like I said, if the national grid goes off, it can be turned on because it's for 24/7, so it doesn't need any off and on switch. So that's one of the benefits of renewable energy, and when we're talking about solar. So the other ones also include the use of wind turbine methods, wind turbine mechanisms. We don't have a lot of wind in our nation, but it has been said that the northern side has more wind, or what I call wind direction, wind flow. So those wind turbine systems can be powered, can also use to power electricity, can also use to power homes in case of power failure, or in case of storms or whatnot. So renewable energy, yes, but renewable energy is not the only it's not the only way whereby we can power or make resilient homes more accessible. There are other methods which include the use of technology. There's some warning systems that can let people know in time that, listen, an impending climate risk factor is about to set in. So this sirens can sound and let people, maybe in the flood prone areas, move to higher ground, or maybe people that are under the northern side with the high heat wave, they can also start looking for shelter and and whatnot. So yeah.
So don't you think rainwater harvesting is part of this, and how effective is that?
Yeah, rainwater harvesting is very, very effective, especially when you look at both the north and the south side, especially the north that is associated with drought. So developing systems that capture rainfall during the wet season. This rainfall can be kept in containers, and then during the dry season where there's maybe water scarcity, this captured rainfall in those systems can then be released, and by doing so, not only does it improve livelihood but also reduces food insecurity. So yes, harvesting rainfall water is a very good renewable method.
Okay, when we decided to talk about resilient housing today, and it just opened my eyes to a little bit to the fact that most of the times when building houses, we don't really, I feel like people don't, especially those that are affected by flood, don't really think much when it comes to building, and to the fact that you need to build in such a way to prevent yourself against flood and drought and wind and whatever it is. So two questions I want you to talk on, maybe those little mistakes people make that are very detrimental when it comes to building, and it makes the home not so resilient.
Yeah.
And and also if urban development is actually a priority when we're talking about climate change and resilient homes, because it seems like it's only those at the rural areas or even at flood prone areas that are being affected. What about the urban development? When it comes to urban development coming to the towns, how is the town itself a priority when it comes to building resilient homes?
Yes, the town actually is a huge priority, because at the end of the day, if you look at it, people in the rural areas and flood-prone areas, they'll move to the urban center. And I think this thing still falls down on awareness. A lot of people are not too aware. They are like, especially in the Lagos Islands and mainland, they're like, okay, rainy season, yes, water, dry season, it will go back now. They're not aware that, listen, in the next year, this incidence is actually going to get a little bit worse. It's not going to get better. And then some people, some of our government policies are not too clear, because you have instances of people building on dams, people building on canals, people building on drainages. So if we have a very rigid government laws or implementation of these laws that will let you know, listen, before we give you approval to build, we have to check the environment and make sure, that would be very effective. But as of now, I'm not too sure, because I still see incidences of people that build on top of canals. It's ridiculous. You can clearly see water next to you. You're building there, and then when you ask them how much is the rent, they talk ridiculous price.
And I also have an issue with that, because okay, like those areas, I believe if you go to is it ages, you get all those information, like
Yes.
okay, they have those information, they have those data, these areas, they are flood prone and
Yes.
everything. So my question is, what happens when people come and tell you, okay, they want to acquire land, they want to acquire a space, and you're checking your data, you're seeing that, okay, this place you are going, you want to acquire a land or a space, this is flood prone.
Yes.
In order to prevent had I known tomorrow, but yet these lands are still given out to people, and I'm like, exactly why?
Yes.
Because if we on our part as media practitioners can only, and even young environmentalists can sit here and just bring awareness to the people. That's all we can do, and let people know that this is how it's detrimental to them. But those people who are the hem of affairs, the point of delivery, they're supposed to be like, no. I'm even of the opinion that government should even say all flood prone areas should not be given out to anybody.
Yeah.
Let them be government property.
Exactly.
Use them for something, because it's useful. So I keep wondering why exactly these lands, these spaces are still given out to people at the end of the day.
Because people are cutting corners. It is just that simple. People are cutting corners. Even in government officials, it's unfortunate to say that you have people that are just trying to make an extra buck. So they'll just stamp it. Maybe they'll be collecting kickbacks under the table. So yes, they will stamp it and let it go. Because it's, I was watching a YouTube video this year. A high-rising mansion was built in front of a canal. I don't know whether you guys saw that this year, whereby Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu was saying that all those places will have to be demolished, and then some people started saying, is this an ethnic thing? Not really. Those houses are built in front of canals, and they just built that house. Who approved for that structure to go ahead? A lot of kickbacks, a lot of cutbacks here and there. People are just trying to make ends meet, but at so doing, they're getting temporary relief, but in the long run, it's going to affect everybody. So that's just really it. It's a mental issue we have. I think we need to revamp our mentality.
So what like the future now? How do you think building resilient home and people will cope with getting the structures in the nearest future?
Wow, resilient homes. One of the challenges is actually it's not that cheap, but if government can play a role by subsidizing some certain construction materials, or maybe there's the materials for solar panel acquisition, maybe they can cut those materials down so that people that are into the solar industry can sell at affordable rates. It will really, really help, because you see, this thing we are doing, it affects everyone. Even if you leave Nigeria, you go to the United States of America, climate change effects will still hit you there. In fact, we're actually blessed, if you ask me. Our own climate change effect is not that deep. Some people have tornadoes, hurricanes. Imagine we in Nigeria seeing something like that. So, and ours, if you ask me, is a very, very simple thing, especially when it comes to flooding and drought. Create efficient drainage systems, more efficient drainage systems. In the northern region, we have so much sunlight. Harness it. Use it.
Sorry to continue. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, look at some of the northern places. I want to believe that when cold is really extreme, it can be, we can say it's climate disaster.
Okay.
And we look at the northern sides like Jos, and there's also one northern state that they even have ice.
Yes.
Falling from the sky at a particular period. So in situations like that, how do we build to be able to build a resilient home in that particular kind of condition?
Okay, first of all, you have to take recognizance of what is the prevalent climate risk factor there. So whatever that climate risk factor there, you have to now make use of whatever materials you have, either the traditional materials or you make use of the modern technologies. Every place is unique. You know, Nigeria, we have a diverse geography, the coastal south and the arid north. So there are some technologies that you might not use in somewhere else. So wherever you're located, you make use of you know, the technology that is affordable to you. So I can give you an example for, like, I'll still talk about the north, the arid north. In case of intense heat waves, either you can use mud houses, but just that mud houses are also prone to severe rainfall and storms, but it offers a temporary relief. If you want to make it stronger, you plaster it. At least plaster offers more, at least within time, and that's affordable. So you can come back in maybe next 2 years and replaster again. So that's an affordable thing you can do, but just know that in the long run, it's better you have to get the modern technologies, which is not cheap, but it is what it is, unfortunately.
So what can be done to address this challenge and to ensure that the people, the masses, get to adapt to resilient home? They get to know about this and ensure that they take pre-measures to put on ground resilient homes in case of any of this climate change disasters.
Definitely, it has to be awareness, creating awareness, and not just creating awareness, aggressively creating awareness, whereby it's in your face. You come on the street, you see a billboard, climate change is real. It's spoken in your local dialect, it's spoken in the layman's English, it's spoken in such a way that everybody understands. It has to be everywhere. We have to be aware that, listen, this thing, we might not be seeing too much of it, but the people that are really affected, they will tell you that, oh, honestly, this thing is real. But people that are not really too, let me say, exposed to it, they're like, So this awareness needs to be aggressive. Everyone needs to play a role. Government needs to come out and start saying, this is what is happening. We are now dedicated in building resilient homes. Any housing structure that wants to be built now, you need to have some kind of adaptation features against a climate risk. It is an aggressive feature, because we're talking about now 2025. I'll still go back to the fact of the 2050 thing. I'm not hearing or seeing anything or anybody talk about what is going to happen in 25 years from now in Lagos Island or in the coastal communities along Bayelsa, Delta rivers. I'm not hearing anything, and those rising sea levels are still rising. People are still there. Yes, NIMET can issue warning, but I think government agencies with other associated agencies need to come on the ground and tell people, listen, this is what it is. Either we build resilient homes or you relocate from here, because this place is not safe.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So on the environmentalist part,
yes,
what role do you think they will play in ensuring that the awareness reach, to make sure that the people are aware of this resilient home?
Well, just like I'm doing now, I'm here on your beautiful platform.
Okay.
So I know millions of people are going to watch this. So I'm already creating awareness. But despite this, individually, I also create my own awareness. And environmentalists worldwide, people look at us like, these guys, they don't chop belleful. Because it seems like we're making we're creating awareness for something that is not so visible. People like to see the visible, they don't like to see invisible things. So environmentalists worldwide are doing their thing. Of course, we also have NGOs that are really helping, but to be fair with you, federal government they really have to be aggressive. You know, just I think it's today, or was it yesterday, I saw that CNG price, the subsidy, has been removed. CNG actually was supposed to help, in actually reducing the greenhouse gas emissions. So that when you look at it in the long run, why are they removing such subsidies? So these are just some of the few things I think federal government can come in and, help us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Obima, for coming on the program. It was a pleasure. It's
I'm
nice
grateful.
having you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And this is where we call it a day here on Good Morning Africa. And if you missed out during the course of the program, just a take home for you as you look for that particular house, as you build the house of your dreams. Make sure you put into consideration the factors that may come your way when you have issues of climate disaster. Make sure you build a home, or you get a home that can be able to resist every form of disaster. So I remain Dorcas Chia, and keep watching Housing TV Africa.
Okay, many thanks for watching. I am Mimi Tondo, and to watch this episode again, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Housing TV Africa. You can follow us on all our social media handles, Housing TV Africa. Until we come your way again next time, bye for now.